Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to show you how to draw robot lettering. This one looks a little complicated when you're done, but it's actually very simple, and the first thing you're going to do is draw your top and your bottom lines. These are the framework for the size of the letter, and it's going to make sure that it's straight across and it looks clean when we're done. Next thing you want to do is basically write out the letters, but in a large framework type. These are just going to be your guidelines when we start adding all those moving parts and stuff to the actual piece. So let me just real quickly. You want to think about how you're going to size the letters, and the fact that we're going to add a lot of moving parts. You need that room. So that's why I decided to do this little font that I'm doing right now. It's really big, it's really simple, and it gives me a lot of room. That's why the O is so big, the R is so big, to work and actually be more creative in how I decide to set up these letters, because there's a lot of different options that I'm going to get to in a second. But just let me finish writing out the word robot. This part is really important in figuring out how you're going to lay everything out. Looks like my words are going to go off the page a little bit. So I'm going to extend these a little bit. You don't really need to use a ruler for that. Just extending them. Just make sure it's basically the same. And draw my line straight down for the T. Don't need to draw the top of the T because we have a guideline already. So the next thing you want to do is start off with the beginning letter, the R. And I'm going to do a little box at the bottom right here. And this little line right there connecting the box to the floor. Now a little line in between. And do a box on top of it, like this. That leads into the line of the R. Right here, and then connect them all right here. So now up here, I'm going to add little lines going up, little line to connect it, and a little box right there. And a line coming across. That's going to represent the top part of the R, and I'm going to do a little squiggle right here for this round part. I think that's the curviest feature of a robot, is the spring. So that's what I'm drawing. A squiggle is a spring, in a less technical term. A squiggle is more fun. And next thing, let's have this coming out of here. That a little curve tube, maybe. So like, the fun thing about this being graffiti lettering is that I could just make up anything, and so can you. I'm just trying to figure out right now. I think this will work. What'll work in conveying the shape that I really want, which I already have the framework for, so it's very simple. Tubing, but I don't want it to look too stagnant. I want a little bit more metallic frame robot feel to it. Yeah, like that. Connect them. Main thing is any part that you add in the letter has to connect to it. It's kind of going for more of a lab robot, like those machines that work in like buildings type vibe to it. The complex ones that most people don't know anything about. And then there. And yeah, I think that'll do it. See how it's gonna look. It's looking maybe a little there, a little more clear. Add a little piece to that. I think that'll look good. Yeah. I think that looks good. It's a lot of looking and viewing things after you add to it, and then figuring out whether or not you want to keep it. And next we're gonna do the O. I think I'm gonna do a longer tube going upward. Adding a big long tube. There. Make a nice little cylinder. And I'm gonna draw a line coming out of it. Another tube. And multiple lines coming up. Nah, let's erase that. There's a lot of trial and error in this part. It's real simple to go back. That's why you gotta draw a lighter. Go back to my little cylinder light. Then I'm gonna add a little tube coming out. And the spring or squiggle going up. And I'm gonna put like a little diamond S shape up here. Like a little claw. That's what I'm going for, a little claw going upward. And a little light bulb in there. A little round shape in the bottom for the light bulb. That. And stuff with the O. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get it across. So to get across the bottom and the top O. This is for the top. Since I put a light bulb there, I can do a little electric bolt coming out with the little spark at the end. So let's do that. Looks like a pulse in a way. Yeah, and then add a little spark, little star at the end. And there you go. So we got the top of the O done. And see how we're gonna get down. And do the bottom is a little line straight, kind of like we did at the first square of the R. Metal base. And another tube coming up here. Round it off at the top. Like a long extension light bulb. With the light in, like in there. The two ones in there. See if that works. Yeah, looks alright. You see, coming along pretty good. It's a little more, takes a little more time and effort, but you know, it'll be worth it all in the end. Here, start the little. After every letter, you want to evaluate, see if you want to add anything. You want to straighten anything, clear anything up. Little extra attachments to things if you think it looks a little too plain. Because the point is, you don't want it to look like a bunch of different shapes, just shapes too. You want them to all feel like they have kind of a purpose, something special about them. So that's why I added those little vents in there. And add another tube over the R. Because I think it makes it look a little bit more stable. Alright, erase that. Again, a little different. We're gonna do different shape. Let's try this. So everyone started with like a box-ish cylinder shape. We'll see this one looks a little more different. We'll do like envelope type thing, but a little more, add a little more of a metallic feel to it. Gears are turning in there, you know, and move this up or something. Because again, everything has to connect to something in the letter. Has to be one piece. You don't have to connect them all the way around, like it doesn't have to be enclosed, but it has to be connected. Like the O, see the spark is by the light bulb, but it's not. Sorry about that. Let me fix this up real quick. I add these little lines with the circles because I don't know, it just reminds me like a circuit board and all the items moving in it. So it's real simple, just a line, straight line as you can. Erase that. And circle at the end. Real simple. We're gonna do them different variations just so it looks more complicated and machinery like. Not like there's just a bunch of random lines. Shape at the top. Alright, while I'm doing this, I'll just say it's like what I was saying, continue what I was saying, a little box here. And then I'm gonna add my little vent maybe right here. Yeah. So it's like letting out the air from all the hard work going on in this big machine robot. But everything has to connect in some way for the letters. So it can have two endpoints, or it could be a continuous connect. Like the O, it has two endpoints, but it all connects. This one, this B I'm doing, I think I'm gonna add some more of those springs right here. I think the springs work well for the curves. Yeah, you got a couple tries on this one. Just because it's more of that part is more of a free flowing part, but this is a little bit more. You gotta connect this to something so it doesn't look like it's just a bunch of loose springs trying to make a shape of a bee. So you got that little box right there. Work very, very well. And we need something like at the bottom of here, so I'm gonna add there, the line. Squeeze that in. There you go. No simple box. And next thing we're gonna move on to is the O over here, and we're not gonna just copy the other O. We're gonna do something unique for this O, but we're gonna start the same with the little box. It's just easy to move from the box, honestly. So the line going up, a little tubage. The 2 tubes coming out of this one. Okay, more of this rectangular 3D dimensional type shape. A little like that. Yeah. So instead of a cylinder, start out with like a rectangle. Erase that, make it a little straighter. Erase that. So I'm trying to shape it a little bit more, make it look a little straighter. Next, erase the top and draw a little bit more lines going up. Erase that. There's a lot of trial and error with this one because when you're working with robots and machinery type drawings, you kind of need them to look more straighter than most because it's a robot. It's technically mathematically sound. There's a lot of different straight cubes and things have been measured to create these robots. So that's why I'm erasing a lot. You probably will too. It's a trial and error thing, and there's a lot of thinking of what you can add to the piece, looking at it from different angles and stuff, seeing what works. Add a little box up here. Line right here. Let's see what we can do. Erase that. Diagonal. With that being said, the straight lines have to be straight, but they don't have to be. Add my little spring right here. They have to be straight, but they don't have to be like up and down, horizontal, vertical. It can be slanted as long as it's straight. Alright, I'm gonna do a little claw going down too, just to add some symmetry between the two O's, because I didn't want them to look the same. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe something like this little claw right here I'm drawing right now. You bring them together. So I have to erase that and start over. It's not the same exact claw, but it does add some symmetry between the two. Add your lines. Add did a circle at the top of it so that there was a meeting point for the claw. Really simple. Straight lines. And we're gonna add in here, we're gonna add a little diamond instead of a light bulb. A little crystal diamond, whatever you want to call it. Not a traditional glass diamond shape. It was more of a crystal shape, but it's whatever you want it to be. Real simple. A little spiral and a box. So I had the little bowl spiral holding the crystal, and then little box holding up the circle, cylinder, bowl, whatever you would like to call it, is your drawing. And then we add the vents at the bottom. Next for the T, I'm gonna draw straight across. Let me move this over a little bit so you can see me work on the T. Like that. And then drawing letters and stuff. Really simple. I'm gonna start from the top with the T since the bottom is so regular. Push this over. And make this. Alright, cool. Now you guys can see. Alright, so now I'm working on the bottom of the thing, of the T. And I'm gonna add little vents into this cylinder, unlike the other one. Give it a little different look. And a line coming out of here connecting the two. A little base for the frame of the T. Didn't go too much because then you start looking like an eye. And for the top, I'm gonna erase this. It does still kind of look like an eye with the little thingies on the side. Just draw the top, finish up the top that we started. I'm gonna add little spikes coming, like dropping at the side. It's because I think it'd just be cool to have these little floating spikes there. Let's erase that. And my little vent in the corner so it don't look like a basic rectangle. And add 3 longer vents on the side. It's kind of big to be fitting in this camera, but make it work. And I'm gonna erase this because I think I have a better idea. I'm gonna add more spikes coming down. Littler ones on each side. And a big tube connecting a little box right here I'm drawing. I'm gonna draw a tube between that. Hold on. Let me figure this out. Right there. That. And I'm gonna add a tube connecting them both with a bunch of plasma in it, or a little rays, kind of similar to the spikes I had around it. So I'm gonna just draw a bunch of them. The tube is gonna be transparent, so I don't know if I'm gonna draw the lines for the tube, but the plasma beams and stuff that's gonna come down, I'm gonna just draw. You're gonna be able to see those, so I'm gonna draw them down, going down. Just random ovals coming down, just like that. Alright, get to see everything all together, and draw the little more circles and stuff. Erase this. I think that could look a little bit more cleaner, because when you put the pen over it, just kind of muddies together to your erase, so you don't really see. So I want it to look a little bit more clearer, so I know what I'm doing when I do the line work, when I'm tracing over. So I'm gonna draw my 3 little vents in there. And there you go. To be honest, you can leave it like this if you want to, because a pencil, do different variations and stuff. It adds a lot of texture to the piece. And I'll take a picture of it like this first before you do the ink. I think it looks really, really cool. Erase all the extra line work and stuff you didn't need. And now what I'm about to do is kick it in the time lapse while I ink the whole piece. Except for the springs. I'm going to come back at the end and tell you why you save the springs for last, and other details such as the vents and other assets that added to the piece. I'm going to tell you why you save those for last. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I've done all the other line works. Now I'm doing my vents. Why I said you had to save these for last was because now's your option to change it. Now if you've seen the whole basic look at how your thing is looking, how your piece is looking, you might want to change some of the assets that you added to it. Like I like these vents right here. That's why I'm tracing them, and I traced the vents in the O because I knew I liked those there. But now I'm looking at this. I'm gonna add a circle instead of just rectangular vents. I decided to add circle shapes. I just think it looks way more cooler and less basic with the circles vents instead of, or oval vents instead of the basic rectangular vents I was using. And I think I should add a vent down here. Whatever you add at this point, you know you want it there, you should. That's why you do it in ink. Why I'm doing it in ink right now. Add little rectangular ones down here. They're not the same as the ones that I drew in with the pencil. A little different. There's a little bit more depth to it that I added by adding that line on the inside. And I'm gonna draw these rectangles right here. So move this. So then I'm gonna draw a straight line here. Make this one big vent. Nice shine line right there. I think down here looks a little plain in the R, so I'm gonna add some more vents right here. Another vent up here. You can get a little liberal with it. Any place that looks too bland, you want to add a little asset to it to spice it up a little bit. Like right here, I think I'm gonna add like screws. The base, even with the screws, kinda, they look like vents as well, but because they're smaller than those up there, they're not. Little square with the little dots in the corner, and that makes that little panel that they open when they need to fix the machine, and the button to run the machine as well on the panel. Just adding a lot of little details here. And I'm gonna erase everything else. Now that I got it looking the way I like, I'm gonna start erasing all the pencil marks I don't want anymore, don't need, don't think I'm gonna do anything with them. They don't need to guide me anymore. Now I just need to see what exactly I've done with the piece so far, and if there's anything I need to add, and I need to clearly see what I am about to draw, because now I'm just drawing with permanent pen. These next pieces I need to see. The pencil kind of gets in the way with certain things like this, especially line work where it's not creating a shape, there's no room for error. The line work is the drawing. So that's why I wait for the strings for last. I erased everything so I can clearly see what I'm going to draw. Alright, so now I'm gonna start. And I'm gonna start doing my spirals from my spring. You're gonna see my spring right now. Started, did it, like it. You can add a double ring if you want to, if you don't like the way it came out. I like the way that came out, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Right here, spiral. Simple spiral going down. Simple spiral, always can fix it. Just have it go where you want it to go. Have it shape what you want it to shape. And this light bulb right here. Actually, let me do this first. So the one right here. It's very simple, that one. It's just a spiral around the pole anyway. And then a spiral on this little pole. right next to it. And I add my 2 little fluorescent lights and this light bulb right here. One. And you're gonna overlap each other. I think that gives it a cool effect right there. And that's how you create a robot font. Very simple, but looks very crazy when you're done. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.